Yes. Big Baby JTV. Like, comment, sub. Like, comment, subscribe. Get on it. Yo, as you see in the footage, man, this is the second weekend of the Convoy. This was day 10. My bad, it was day 9. Yesterday. I was there. I was there at the Convoy, man. And as you can see in the video, it was smaller than the first weekend I went, right? Smaller. A little bit smaller. Because the original weekend of the Freedom Convoy is packed, right? But it was noticeably smaller. It was extremely cold. Like it was minus like 23 Celsius. I don't know what it is Fahrenheit. Probably like minus 10 Fahrenheit or minus 5 Fahrenheit. It was freezing. It was cold and there was a little bit of a wind. So it felt closer to 30, right? It was pretty cold. And the first thing that I noticed really is that it was no longer really a protest per se, right? It felt more of like an occupation, right? And that's what I said in my previous video, man. This reminds me so much of Occupy Wall Street. But it's not really Occupy Wall Street because Occupy Wall Street was, of course, against the establishment. It was against the, the financial establishment, Wall Street, right? Which is completely fair, and I actually really much agreed with that. I really, felt for them, and I was, we are the 99%, right? But this is different. This is more on the conservative side, right? And more so in the sense that people are just frustrated. They're mad at the government. They're mad at mainstream media. They're mad at even politicians, right? They're very upset. But the way that they're manifesting is not really upset. It's not a lot of anger. It's more so unity. To some people are even saying this is almost like Woodstock, right? If y'all know about Woodstock, this happened in San Francisco, I think in the 60s, right? Where people went to this festival and they ain't left, man. They did not leave. They stayed there for a minute. If you look at Occupy Wall Street, man, that was like basically a month and a half until they brought in police and military to take them out. And hey, nothing is new under the sun, so I have a strong feeling that's what's going to happen with this. But we're going to get to that around the end of the video, right? So for me, how's my experience, right? So as a black man, as a, obviously a visible minority, or maybe some people will say, as Trudeau says, a fringe minority. I had fun. I had a good time. I was getting treated with respect. It seemed that this level of convoy was more militant and less clout chasing as the very first time that I was there about a week ago. Why do I say that? It's that the people, it was a smaller group, of course, even though there was a lot of people. It was a smaller group. It was obviously disorganized for sure, but people seemed more community based this time, meaning like, if people were seeing you, they would, wave at you, say hi, try to interact. Some people would stop me across the street, and, one of the few black people there, I would get some good conversation, or at least some point perspectives. But people were generally in a more communal atmosphere, as opposed to before, where it was a huge mob, right? Now, were they Trump 2020, 2024, flags? Yes. Was there American flags? Yes. Did I see a single Confederate flag? No. Did I see a single Nazi type of, look or flag? No. Were some of them giving a suspect look? Yes. Yes, there was. But, as I said in the previous videos, I was prepared. Very prepared. But luckily, thankfully, ain't nothing happened. But hey, if anybody want to smoke, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But it was a good experience. I had actually a very long conversation with this lady and her group from Brantford, Ontario, right, closer to Toronto, closer to the GTA. So you have people who are coming from all over, right? And the very interesting thing about this convoy now is that it expanded to multiple cities within Canada, right? So you have obviously the Alberta one, the one at Coots, which is at the border U.S. And Alberta border, U.S.-Canada border. You have the ones happening in Quebec City in front of their parliament, because Quebec City is the capital of Quebec, and it's not Montreal, surprisingly. It's the capital of Quebec, and that's where they have their parliament for Quebec, because people are very upset at Legault. Francois Legault, who's the leader of Quebec, the premier of Quebec, or you could say the governor of Quebec if you're American. And people also went to Queen's Park in Toronto to go against Ontario's mandates, right? So our dumb premier or governor, whatever you want to call it, Mr. Doug Ford, still doesn't support the truckers. He's not planning to meet with the truckers and none of that, right? And I think that this, disregard and disrespect for these truckers and these protesters will lead, I predict, to something really bad happening. Something really bad happening. And we've already seen it. We've seen GoFundMe stop and cancel the Freedom Convoy fundraiser. They gained about $10 million. They stopped it because they heard of threats of violence and so on and so forth from the Ottawa police. The Ottawa police said they would do a seize and, a seize and confront type of approach, meaning they would bring a lot of polices. In my video right now, you probably might see some barricades right there. So they made some barricades to stop any truckers from coming in, right? And stop other truckers from going out. And with recent announcements, the mayor of Ottawa, the terrible mayor, as y'all know, Mr. Jim Watson, called a state of emergency. So, long story short, we all know where this is going. Let's just be real. We all know where this is going. They're going to release the military on them people, on these folks. As I speak today, it's Sunday. This is about to be day 10. And this is going to keep on going because the truckers have no intention to leave. This is going to go on until military gets involved. And pay attention, there's things called false flags. What is a false flag operation? A false flag operation is when the opposition in a military context does something to instigate a fight. You know what I mean? It's like when you push somebody in the middle of a fight. We were about to fight somebody. You push them or you spit in their face to provoke them to act. And once they act and swing on you, it gives you an excuse to beat them up. That is what I predict is going to happen. Now, if y'all have some time, y'all should Google Waco siege, right? So the Waco siege happened in Waco, Texas in the 1990s, right? More specifically, 1993. And it was a standoff between this religious cult called the Branch Davidians versus multiple federal agencies. We're talking ATF, FBI, Texas Rangers, armed forces, military. All of those versus a religious sect, right? And that lasted for 51 days. They were trying to convince them to come out with their guns, their illegal guns and all them things, right? They're illegal cults, of course, but they couldn't. It was a standoff. It was a face-off. It was a game of chicken. Lasted 51 days, right? How did it end? It ended with the feds, the FBI, creating a false flag and starting a fire. They threw tear gas into this siege, right? In this building where all the Branch Davidians was, started to light a fire, and that burnt that building to the ground, killing 76 people, right? 76 people. Now, this convoy is obviously way bigger than 76 people. At its minimum, it had about 250 during the weekday. Maximum, it had 10 to 12,000 last Saturday. So what I'm predicting is this. I hope it don't happen. I hope that Justin Trudeau gets to his senses, makes an announcement that, hey, we're going to chill on the restrictions like a lot of the world, and these truckers will slowly move away. Once they start meeting with organizers, these truckers will slowly leave Ottawa. But the defiance and the ego of Trudeau is going to lead to deaths. I'm not capping. And the thing that's crazy about this is because it has so many international implications, because the U.S. a lot of places in the U.S. are resisting. A lot of places in Australia are resisting, in Europe, so on and so forth. If Trudeau does not call for peace or shut down mandates, I promise you, people will die. And when I say people, I don't just mean these protesters. I mean military and police for sure. Why do I say that? Because, man, I look at some of these folks, man. They're from the country. This is redneck Carabana, like I said. Redneck Carabana, like I said. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these people have guns and pistols in their trucks and their cars and their hotels. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. This could be a shootout. This could get very nasty, very, very quick. But this is when you need proper leadership to avoid things like that. This will define Trudeau's legacy, and this will be a defining moment in history because we're going to look back. People look back at the Waco siege even now. People look back at the Waco massacre even now. You know what I'm saying? They still critique the FBI. They still critique, you know what I'm saying, gun rights and gun ownership because this was a landmark case where 51 days, bro, people were in a standoff with the feds. And this is what's starting. We're on day 10 right now. Y'all looking at day 9 where I was recording. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I hope peace prevails. I hope that the government, the Trudeau government, the Liberal government actually sits down with some of these truckers because their intentions are pure. Their intentions are pure. They're not evil. They're not hateful. Don't listen to the mainstream media narratives. But I want to know what y'all think, man. Big Baby JTV, like, comment, sub. I'm out, bro.